Hello everyone. I have recorded this video two times now, and I'm going to record it for the third time to show you nothing. So we are going to talk about the drama triangle, and the triangle. This particular theory has been given by Eric Berne, who is also the father of ego states theory, and he talked about how a person has a bit different ego states, and then he started talking about how people interact with each other and how the story flows between them. And then he talked about the drama triangle where there are three people involved. One is the victim, the perpetrator, the second, and the third one is the rescuer. Okay. In a due course of time, as I started working on my clients, the ones who were, into this role of victim, I found it very incredibly difficult to shake them out of their, role of victim. And it takes a lot of work, mind you, a lot of work. And I realized that not everyone like everyone has their own comfortable role. Okay, like any actor who was like okay, I can all I'm very comfortable with stunts only. So similarly, all of us have a comfortable role. Either we always show up as a rescuer or a perpetrator or a victim, and we have our roles assigned. We assign these roles to ourselves. So when we have relationship with people, when we show up, okay, in a role, we choose that particular role. Like, I know I'm always showing up as a rescuer in my friend's life. It can be anything, but I will show up as a support system. Okay. And mind you, all psychologists have a comfortable role that is called the role of rescuer. But the reality is that I'm going to tell you the biggest reality, because after getting trained in different modalities, I have understood a very fundamental thing, that the entire story, the entire drama is getting created and played by the victim. You may feel that, oh no, that perpetrator started the whole thing. No, he tortured this person and now he is to blame and everything. But no, I realized the victim is the one who creates it. The victim assigns the role, who is to be blamed and who is to be used as a support system. And you will know because you must have been through the similar experiences where suddenly a friend whom you are supporting around suddenly turns to you and says, you are the one who is scrambling my life, you are torturing me, and blah and blah. Suddenly this happens. Then you that clicks, my god, what happened? Because the victim is the one who assigns the roles. Okay, and you are suddenly like, maybe what I thought about this person is not true. Maybe this is the one, maybe she is the one, or he is the one who is the perpetrator, and the one I thought is torturing this person is not to be blamed. So your mind goes through a different kind of a journey. You see things in a different perspective now once the tables are turned for you. This is happening because the victim is the one who creates the entire story. I mean, they interpret and they decide who will be to be blamed, who is to be blamed, and from whom I can take some emotional, physical, financial resources from. The third thing is that the third most important that you have to be having in the back of your mind is that every person chooses their role. They definitely have a comfortable role. Okay, like I said, I generally show up as a rescuer, and still I can be a perpetrator in a different set of incidents in my life. So when your client comes to your clinic and tells you a series of stories about how they have been victimized, don't sit and think, okay, this client is comfortable, the client only plays the role of a victim. No, there are other separate incidents that they are not talking to you about, they're not telling you. Okay, where they are rescuer, and a separate set of incidents, dramas, where they are the perpetrators, but they're comfortable in their victim role. That's the point. Okay, and that can happen anytime to you as well. Like I said, like I mentioned, that a victim, a friend of yours, may turn the tables and tell you, "Oh, you are to be blamed for every single thing." So you have to be very mindful, especially in your relationship, because drama happens between people. And don't go in the back of your head and think, okay, it's a drama between me and this person. No, I'm telling you from my experience, there are never two people who are creating the drama. The drama is happening between three and more people. There is never two people in the drama. Okay, there are always three. The saas, bahu, and wo, pati, patni, or wo. There are always three people in the drama. Okay, you may not be aware of the third party or the third person, but the drama happens between three people always. So what I meant to say is that when the drama is happening between three people and you are listening to your client, or you are also trying to decipher your experiences, try to identify what roles every single person is playing. Sometimes what happens, you are forcefully brought into the drama. Like a girl once told me, Mama, I have no idea how this happened. They were having a fight and suddenly they brought me into that particular fight, and then later after 2 to 3 weeks they are blaming me for this. There is a couple I know, they had a rift between each other. They brought the best friend of the girl and told, because whenever you are there, my husband is, he ill treats me whenever you are there. So you have no idea when you will be dragged into someone else's drama. You have to be very mindful of that as well. We have no idea what role they will assign to us. So when a client is telling you a lot of things, right, you have to be very, very mindful. Who knows how much that particular incident is true? Because everything is happening in the head, no? What I mean to say, they're interpreting the things in a certain way. Sometimes, in order to solve that particular issue, you have to bring some perspective, a different perspective to the client as well. Later on, the client herself or himself understands, oh no, this is not the person to be blamed. If your client is a victim, oh, this is not the person to be blamed, there is another person who is working through it. So now I'm introducing two more concepts in the drama triangle, where another set of researchers worked on this particular drama triangle, and they found there is someone called bystander. Who is a bystander? He is the witnessing the drama. He witnesses or she witnesses the drama. Sometimes this bystander can be an enabler. An enabler who witnesses the drama, the entire abuse happening, okay, on the victim, enables it by not intervening. Then it's an enabler. A bystander is someone like say you are on you're on a way to some place, there is traffic, and you are noticing two people fighting. You are a bystander there. So you are watching, a lot of power game happening, a drama happening. You're only watching, you're witnessing it. You are also part of the drama because you're not going and intervening. You're not acting as a rescuer there, right? There may be other people who will step into the role of a rescuer, not trying to pacify. There are other called pacifiers. The rescuer may also show up as a pacifier who will pacify. But if you are someone who's witnessing, also you are part of the drama. Okay, there are other roles coming in as well. Now I'm going to give you khatarnak insight on the law of attraction. Because a girl once asked me, ma'am, my friend is she's into self-harm now. I have no idea how to help her. She's not willing to enter into therapy, and I want some tips and help how to help her. I had to ask a few things. Why did you choose to be a rescuer to your friend? Why? Why are you so eager to help this particular client, your friend of yours? When your friend herself is not eager enough to help herself, why are you stepping into this drama? Then she said, maybe I'm empathizing with her because I went through a similar issue. So now I'm going to tell you the khatarnak insight is that if you are part of a drama, or your client or a person you know is part of a drama, every single person participating in the drama has the same core wound. The bystander has the same wound, the perpetrator has the wound, victim has the wound, and the rescuer has the same wound. So you actually, as a therapist, as a psychologist, your job is not to, like I went to my professor and said, ma'am, I'm not able to tap out my client from a victim mindset. your your issue is not the client. Your issue is the wound, and then all of them are operating from the same wound. So the bystander, the witness, who witnesses, has been through the similar trauma, but doesn't know how to intervene. Because this person does not know how to intervene, and there is threat if that person intervenes, chooses to become an enabler, enables the perpetrator to perpetuate more abuse. Perpetrator has been abused as well, doesn't know what to do. Okay, the perpetrator believes that if my father hit me back black and blue and I can't fight him back, I will hit other people as well because I am traumatized, I am hurt as well. I will perpetuate this particular pain onto others. That's the only way I will overcome it, by becoming powerful, by becoming the perpetrator. So this person perpetrates. Okay, this person starts abusing, and that person will abuse another a person. He will choose. Remember, perpetrators choose their victims. Not everyone becomes victimized. They choose their victims, and once they choose the victim, they know this is the person who is taking that extra, bruises, is, allowing them to break their boundaries, taking the hits. Now they feel okay. Now only then they feel powerful, and the who is taking that abuse now assigns, this is my perpetrator. And many times I have noticed what happens. These victims, they create a shadow within themselves. They find this, because they're not able to stand up for themselves, that particular thing becomes a shadow. To feel the tension release that particular tension, they attract people in their life as rescuer. And who steps up as a rescuer? Someone who has a similar pain. This rescuer may have been a direct victim in their life or a bystander in their life, because they couldn't save their mother from, abuse from their father. They look at the friend and say, no, no, I will help you out. I will help you out from your boyfriend abusing you. Because they were bystander in their family, or they were direct victims in their family. Now they show up as a rescuer. I'm telling you, in all of these people, the trauma, the core wound is the same. If you work out, if any of these people come into your clinic, no matter what the role is, your focus as a psychologist is supposed to be on the trauma. So what we do, what I have understood in past life regression, what happens, we try to see what roles we have played. Okay, initially what happens as a client, when we enter into past life regression with a particular issue, we only see ourselves in the victim roles. Okay, we play a lot of victim roles. Gradually, we come to the perpetrator roles. We see ourselves as a perpetrator, thereby confirming the law of attraction, where it says, what you sow, so you reap. So, if you have been a perpetrator, now you are becoming victimized with similar intensity. Now, two roles have been understood, right? Same person understands and sees themselves as a victim. Now, the consciousness becomes aware of themselves becoming the perpetrator, of enabling or perpetuating the abuse. Gradually, what has happened in my life is that I have noticed some of my past lives where I am the bystander. I am watching, I'm witnessing the abuse. And a lot of people also see themselves as a bystander, a witness of abuse. Remember, any atrocity against humanity is going to cause trauma. So, no matter you are directly getting abused, you are doing it, or you're watching it happen, or you're enabling it, you are part of that particular problem. You do something or you don't do something, by active participation or passive understanding, you're part of the problem. Because it is not you who is getting victimized, it is the humanity that is getting, victimized. Okay, now coming back. So, in the past life regression, I understood when the client sees themselves as a perpetrator, a victim, a bystander, they gain a lot of insight into that particular situation. The drama, they understand and unravel the secrets behind the drama. So because initially I thought if I can help my client tap out of the victim role, the problem will be solved. No, they go back and they become a rescuer in someone else's life and recreate the same drama. They're still engaged in their drama. The drama is never going, they're never leaving their life. And that's how I understood I have to help my client, or let's say it is imperative for the consciousness, because you are therapist, no, you are also part of the drama now. Okay, because you are trying to do something about it. So you are part of the drama now. You are witnessing the drama as well. But you are there to help the client process the drama. Remember. And so the most important thing that you will be able to do is bring perspective. Allow the client to shift their perspective, watch the entire thing from different levels of consciousness, different perspective, different areas, by stepping into different roles. And the significant roles that you already have is the perpetrator, the victim, the rescuer, bystander. Okay, all those roles you have to give them. Now, when I'm giving you all this philosophy, we have different modalities in our life. So in CBT, you can do it. In CBT, also, you can do it by asking your clients perspective oriented questions like, let's say your client is a victim, and you say, if you would have watched yourself going through that abuse, what would you have done? So what you are doing, you are trying to bring them into the rescuer role. Why? Because the rescuer knows what to do. He's the one or she's the one who intervenes, right? Tries to stop the drama, right? Sometimes what happens when there is a case of self-sabotage, when people are self-sabotaging themselves, they are the perpetrator, right? They are perpetrating, sorry, they are victimizing themselves. So what we do, we ask questions in CBT, right? Like in a Socratic questioning style. We ask them, why are you doing this to yourself? Why are you putting yourself in situations where you go through this emotion over and over again? Right? This is the one way. In Gestalt, what we do, in Gestalt, that is a greater degree of freedom. We can now ask our client to actively play a role, because they are playing the role of a victim. Let them play the role of a victim completely. Then we ask them to come to the role of a perpetrator, then to the rescuer, so that they understand the full picture of the drama. And in past life regression, we take them through the entire story till the origin. Okay, that's a different topic. And then one of the best modalities, best technique that I have used is the empty chair technique. Okay, in few days I'm going to start this course of just psychodynamic theories and how to help your client in different settings, by the way, to overcome certain aspects of their life, especially trauma and this whole thing. I'm also covering this drama triangle in this course. Let me know if you're interested. Okay, I'm going to start this batch in the late March. Okay, so there also I'm going to help you work out tough things, very complex aspects of trauma, using a very simple technique called empty chair technique. So when the drama triangle issue comes up in the session, and I want significant insights to be derived for the client by changing the perspective, sometimes I use CBT, but I have seen empty chair technique works brilliant, like efficiently. And in this empty chair, there are two chairs, right? So one chair can become the victim, and the another chair can become the perpetrator. Because in the mind of the victim, it's always about perpetrator. No, this, if this person stops behaving this way, I will be rescued or relieved, right? So now you can start toggling with this chairs and work those insights out. Okay. This is my take on the drama triangle. I would request you, it would be great for you to just read more work on it. You can find more insights from stories, by the way. Remember, the drama triangle is talking about the matrix reality, how people take up roles. So if you want to understand and get more insights, it will be great if you look at the people around you, the stories they are playing around, the stories you are participating in. Okay. And it will be great if you come and share your insights, what you have understood, because most of the knowledge that I today shared with you has been coming from my own experiences with my clients in my life as well. Okay. And if you're interested in enrolling in this course, okay, do let me know. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you love this kind of content. Okay, thanks a lot for listening.